Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And this time I'll be playing Vampire Blood and Vice, or whatever the going title is. There have been a couple of title changes. Or specifically a demo, the latest demo version. Now, this is a demo for a game that one of my friends is developing. Her team, they won a contest by the holders of the license for Vampire the Masquerade, and the sort of prize in that contest was a license to develop a full game using the Vampire the Masquerade license and world. So I promised my friend that I'm going to provide some feedback for the game. So I already played the previous version, but supposedly this is much expanded and improved. So I decided I'm going to play through it again and sort of comment on things that I like, things that I don't like, things that work, things I think should or could potentially be changed or improved. So without further ado, let me start a new game. Okay, one thing that doesn't seem to be working, I don't think, there was a kind of cool typewriter effect where the letters sort of appeared one by one and there was the typewriter sound. I think it was pretty creative, and at the very least, I think it should be toggleable, whatever the it should be something that you could switch on and off. But I don't think, like, even if it all just appeared at once, I don't think I can do anything with that. Like, it wasn't at disabled, so by all accounts it should have still been doing that, but it isn't. Okay, Saturday, June 14th, 1986. I am Desiree Bardot, or whatever, a PI working in the heart of Las Vegas. In another life, I was a respected journalist, bringing accountability to those in power, but now I often find myself digging dirt for the same power brokers. When I can find work, that is. I used to have it all, money, a career, and a happy marriage. Now, the only company I keep are the cockroaches, as I struggle to make rent for my crummy apartment in West Vegas. Things could be worse, I suppose. Okay, so one initial piece of criticism that I still have from the previous version. I think this intro is beyond cringe. No one would have said such a thing to themselves, and no one would have written something like that in their journal. Like, no one just sits down in the middle of their life and says, I am so and so, I do so and so. Like, because they already know that. Like, why would they? It's obviously exposition for the sake of the audience, but it's like the most clunkiest and cringe kind of exposition, because it's the character saying things that the character already knows, and there's no one else around that would find that information useful. So I still maintain that this is a very bad opening for a game that's supposed to be narrative driven. I think there are definitely ways, there are definitely ways to relay information about the main character that would be much more natural and interesting. Like, other people could call you by your name, by which you would have learned your name. And then, with you being a PI, you could have like one of those murder boards with like the past cases, or like newspaper clippings of the past cases that you've worked on, rather than this. Like, this is very weak, and I really don't like it. And again, the typewriting thing doesn't seem to work. Like, let me go like at 1 and see what's going to happen. Uh, yeah, it just appears. I I think it's a bug, right? Because it used to work fine in the previous version, and I understand some people might find that annoying. That's why I assume this slider exists, but it doesn't seem to work. The non-stop cacophony pounds at your head like a sledgehammer. You barely manage to open your eyes before the fluorescent light sears your corneas. The light, it burns. You turn over and try to dig your furry face deeper into the rough upholstery of the old couch, but you can already tell that you're not going to be able to fall back asleep. Not like this, you're far too hungry besides. Swallowing, your tongue sits like a dry, shriveled lump of meat in your mouth. You're parched and ravenous, the need for sustenance quickly becoming the sole concern at the forefront of your mind. Your stomach echoes this need, its aching emptiness only compounding your discomfort. You're willing to eat almost anything at this point. Kill me. You have never been this hungover in your life. It's worse than that one time in college. Strangest of all, the metallic taste of iron lingers back in the back of your throat. Your body wants to, no, it demands more of that taste. As you lie there, any attempt at movement rendered languid and slow by the hangover, your mind catches up with it. The situation is dire, you need to find more. Of what exactly? Your conscious mind remains unsure. It's clearly blood. You know, blood is famously said to taste a little metallic because it actually has iron in it. So, yeah, and this is a vampire game. It's in the title, so it's not much of a spoiler, really. At least you're still alive, some conciliatory piece of your mind offers. Its words of comfort faint. Still, you reason, it would be best not to sit and wait for death to come and take you. Well, unless it already did, because, again, probably a vampire. You sit up, the lethargy making your limbs feel as if they are suspended in some thick, viscous goo as your feet, still slipped into your boots, make contact with the floor, upright finally. Shaking your head, you attempt to come to your senses and find your balance, standing up on your 2 feet. What happened last night? Answer the phone. Can I do anything else? No. Oh, I'm not sure if that's not sure if this is an intended shadow effect, or like, is it supposed to be doing that? Like, I guess depending on how you were standing, maybe your afro would cast an enormous shadow of the Eldritch variety. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, let's answer the phone because I can't do anything else. I can't interact with anything or, you know. You pick up the phone. The last voice you want to hear in the disoriented wake of your drunken bender blares out of the line. Your ex-husband. At the very least, he can't see you right now, something you're exceedingly thankful for. Hey Des, how have you been? I'm starting to worry you didn't pick up earlier today. Yeah, so even this, like, you know, he addresses you by your name and you have his name? Because you are married to him, you know, he's your ex-husband, not your ex-boyfriend. So, like, I think the introductory lines are unnecessary, and they leave a bad taste in my mouth, because that's the kind of introduction that's written by someone who doesn't really have that great of an idea of what they're doing, to my mind. Like, it doesn't have a place, to me at least. It's something like that doesn't have a place in a story that's well written, so I would consider changing that. The worst part, you know, the concern is sincere. Well, not going to lie to you, I've been better. I'm sorry to hear that. This has been hard on both of us. Yeah, both of us. You almost say, but something stops you. He has been nothing but kind throughout all of this, after all. Listen, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I was calling to see if you have any updates on the money that I lent you. I'm still working on it, give me some time. Charisma persuasion. Okay, so again, I do very much like skill checks. I think skill checks are a cool mechanic in RPG games that add a lot of sort of role playability, because as you upgrade your character, you can express those advances that you've made throughout the dialogue and throughout solving quests. But what I would like there to be is if it gave you your pool, because like right here, I guess it doesn't matter that much because I only have a single check, so I can either do it or not. But for example, if there was a situation where I had a charisma plus persuasion check and then like charisma plus intimidation to intimidate someone, I would like to know which of those things is my character better at. So I think there should be, it should give you your pool, like right here, you know, charisma plus persuasion pool 6 or whatever, and then charisma plus intimidation pool 7, especially because I don't think I'm clicking C or J, or escape by the way, and I don't think I can access my character sheet while the dialogue is in place. So that's, again, that leaves me a bit under-informed, in the sense that I don't know what my character is good at, but I'm working on it, give me some time. That's what you said a month ago. Look, I only gave it to you to help you get on your feet. The last thing I want to do is to take my ex to court, but I don't know what else to do. Well, I understand where you're coming from. I'm sorry. It's okay. I know you're good. I know you're good for it. Just keep me updated, all right? You know better than anyone I'm not exactly swimming in cash here. He awkwardly chuckles, but you can hear the stress in his voice. Guilt hits you like a bag of bricks. He doesn't deserve this. You can feel your throat closing up with emotion. You have to get a few more words out. Will do. I'll let you get back to it then. Bye, Des. He quickly catches his mistake and hangs up the phone. Just the force of habit, you tell yourself. The worst part is, you would have reciprocated if he had gone through with it. You didn't want things to end like this. You wish he never gave you that loan. But you also know you would have never been able to start your agency without it. You used to dream about living the quintessential suburban fantasy with a white picket fence and 2 or 3 kids running around in the backyard. But when it came time to commit to the plan, you weren't ready, and Arthur never pressed. Sometimes you wish he had. At least then you would have known where the things stood before it all fell apart. Your headache is getting worse by the minute. You rub your fingers against your temple to no avail. You need something to take the edge off. Grab meds from the bathroom. Okay, I think this is actually potentially changed from the previous version that I played. There's more stuff that's interactable, I think, which is definitely a good thing. Like, I love things like, you know, being able to read the newspaper for bits and pieces of world building, or check the TV to see what's the latest story on town, which, you know, if your story is competently written, is going to have some impact on, like, it's going to foreshadow certain things, or at least set the mood for the story, you know? So I certainly welcome that. Let's explore my apartment then. I have a gun. You pick up the handgun Arthur bought to keep you safe. The metal is normally cool in your hands, but it's now suspiciously has no temperature. Clean the gun. Dexterity plus firearms. Again, I'm not sure how good my character is at that. It would be rather hilarious and potentially dangerous if I just discharged it. But then again, like, I guess if you know anything about firearms, you would have unloaded it before trying to clean it, right? So let's do the skill check. Clean the gun. You get careless putting a bullet hole in the ceiling. Well, apparently my character fucking sucks at firearms. Definitely not getting my security deposit back. Okay, it's a little weird that, because if the gun is loaded, I think you should still have the option to take it. Like, you know, this is a game about vampires, as you know from the title. There might be dangers. You know, if you bought a gun for self-defense, I think you should have an option in a game to, like, take it with you. I think that's just halfway reasonable, especially because that option existed before I attempted to clean it, and I'm not sure what would have stopped me from being able to attempt to clean it, fail, and then take the gun anyway. But it has disappeared as an icon here. So, although I guess it maybe has also disappeared as an object, so maybe I did take it, but it was a little unclear. So, to be honest, I don't rightly know. Oh, I did take it, actually. Okay, I have $55 to my name. What's in the paper? The Nevada Sands newspaper, your former employer. It's bittersweet to read, but you like to keep up with your former colleagues' work. You skim a headline about an increase in missing people's cases. Okay, I do have a corkboard. So again, the whole, like, all you need to do is put some hints on the corkboard that would hint at you being a PI, and you wouldn't need the awkward introduction. Your investigation board is empty, save for the blank map of the city, some scribbled notes, and the overdue bills you've posted as fearful motivation. Hopefully things will pick up soon. You don't know much about budgeting, and it shows. Yeah, it would. I think it would build a little bit more character and backstory if you had, because, you know, you already used to be a PI. Like, from the way it was phrased, you did have an agency and you were doing something. So you could have, like, old, you know, some clippings of, like, old things that you worked on. I think that could have added to the character and the backstory. What's on the TV? No time to watch TV. A crowbar. An old crowbar Arthur bought you. Worn but undeniably useful, this tool has opened many doors for you. Should come in handy. Old takeout boxes and receipts fill the bin. It's been out for 2 days now, but you're starving. You could eat a horse. And the stable it sleeps in. As they say, when you're hungry, anything tastes good. Well, a reasonable person would have certainly tried to eat something if they felt hungry, even though I know it's not going to work because I'm a vampire and they can't eat regular human food. As soon as the cheese hits your mouth, you're hit by a wave of intense nausea, even worse than the one you felt upon waking up. Your guts churn, pushing a reddish slurry up and into the sink. Something about the aftertaste is enticing to you for some reason. Hunger +1. Oh my god, what's happening? Am I dying? What happened last night? Your thoughts swirl in a mesmerizing fractal, like a kaleidoscope of half-baked ideas and jumbled memories, requiring gargantuan effort to sift through and make sense of, but eventually you are able to reach a conclusion. You're dying, or not, but you're sure something isn't right. Okay, does it display my hunger anywhere? because I know in the tabletop game, you do have a hunger stat, and you can gauge how hungry your character is. But I don't think it exists out here. Although it's a bit of a spoiler that I already have a discipline stab. But then again, you know, the vampire is in the title, so it's not that much of a spoiler. Can't live like that anymore. You forgot the sink was clogged. Your reflection in the water, now tinted red, stares back at you. You look terrible, even more so than usual, like you're terminally ill. The idea of it fills you with dread. How is that possible? Yesterday you were fine. What's worse, you can't afford a visit to the ER either. Ah yes, the glorious American healthcare system strikes again, the true horror of the world of darkness. You have no choice but to wait, and hope that it's not as serious as it looks. You're not ready to die. Repair the sink yourself, resolve plus crafts. The pipe breaks into your hands. What is undeniably backed up blood sprays you soaked. The bloody bile looks and feels disgusting in your skin, but despite that fact, you find yourself transfixed by the fluid. You have to put quite a bit of effort to refocus on unclogging the sink. You find the source of the clog, the bathroom key, and an eyeball? Your eyes widen, horrified. How did it get in there? Whose eyeball is this? And most importantly, where are they? What the fuck? Eat the eye. I don't think a reasonable person would have done that at this point, so I'm not going to. Throw the eye quickly back into the sink in panic. A wet plop is audible as it splashes into the half-full blood-stained sink. It bobs up and down, chaotically spinning, until the pupil of its deep brown iris settles on you. Its gaze feels almost accusatory. I need a shower. The doorknob doesn't budge. It's locked. Of course, it's from the inside. The architect must have been a sadist. Unlock the door. You turn the key in the lock, pushing open the bathroom door. Okay, I can actually turn the camera. It's good to know, because I was about to comment that it's a little difficult to even see what's going on in the bathroom. But yeah, I can turn the camera, so I guess that's all right. And the sink is dirty, but at least it isn't clogged like the one in the kitchen. The mirror from the medicine cabinet is clean though, and reflects everything in the room, you included. Look in the mirror. Blood is smeared over your tired, sagging eyes. Your clothes are soaked red. Upon closer inspection, you see that your canines have grown into long fangs. This has to be a dream, a nightmare. How else does everything that is happening to you make sense? What's happening to me? Can't be that this can't be, just can't. What you're beginning to think you are is they are not real. This has to be the hangover messing with you. Look through the clutter near the sink. Sifting through your cosmetic products, you find a bobby pin on the counter. Wish I had it sooner. You open up the mirror and grab an off-brand painkiller. Without reading the label, you pop 2 pills. What's the worst some more liver damage is going to do? Take a shower. Fair. I don't have anything else to do, to be honest, so... Oh, there's a body in my shower. Ready to soak in the relaxing spray of hot water upon your skin, you open the shower curtain, only to find a one-eyed corpse in the pool of old blood, half staring back at you. Your stomach sinks, as if the night couldn't get any worse. No, oh god, please, no. Find the cause of death, intelligence plus medicine. You're not sure why he died specifically, but missing one eye and a hole in his neck certainly didn't help. Fleece the body. Man, I failed every single skill check since the beginning of the game. You find his wallet and an ID, but his name is partially smeared in blood. You can only make out his initials, DV. You find a black and white photo of him holding a baby. Poor bastard. As you look at the body under the shower, you're surprised to hear persistent banging on your apartment doors. It's not a good time for guests. Okay, use the sofa as cover. Now, I know this is probably considered to be like a tutorial area or something. You know, it's just the very beginning of the game. But I think it, like, generally I'm a fan of choices. And I think it would be more fun if you had, like, at least another option to just open the door rather than go and hide. Like, just to allow you to roleplay a different kind of sort of more confident or more confrontational kind of a character. Also, it kind of bothers my OCD that I cannot close the door because from my front door you get a pretty good look at the corpse, which, you know, a reasonable person would have closed this door before opening the main door, or before allowing the main door to be unlocked, you know, because I certainly wouldn't want someone to see this as the first thing that they see when they enter my apartment. But let's use the sofa as cover. What do I do? Well, I probably do need to turn myself in. I did murder someone, apparently, and I'm having a pretty major mental breakdown. On the other hand, think about it this way. It won't do anything to help him. He's already dead, says my beast. There's that voice again. I don't think... I think this is kind of low-key a continuity error. Because I don't think my beast ever spoke before, so like, you know, that doesn't totally jive, I don't think. Coming from the front door, just ignore it, I don't want more witnesses. What if it's the cops? Who cares, it's them or me. The door busts open with two men behind it barging into the room. Yeah, and again, this bothers me that I couldn't close this door. Which, you know, I know they won't care because I already played the previous version of the demo and I know they're vampires, unless it has been majorly changed. But, you know, just from a role-playing perspective, I don't think it's wise to leave this door open. One of them is tall and well-built, his skin unnaturally pale, and dark brown hair windswept. The man is clad in a black suit made from some kind of an expensive fabric, shimmering faintly in your apartment lights. Adorned with a little gold pin on one of his suit flaps, the ensemble is brought together, or apart, by a red silk tie dangling from the unbuttoned collar of his white formal shirt. The buckle of his belt is larger than what's in fashion, featuring a bull's head stamped onto it, similar to what cowboys wear. When he steps closer, you hear a jingle. Glancing down for a split second, you catch a glimpse of his steel-toed cowboy boots, spurs and all, but quickly refocus your gaze on his face. You're only met with your own reflection in his black aviators as you attempt to catch his eye, though. He doesn't hold any weapon either, but there is something intimidating about his presence nonetheless, enough that you can almost feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. The other one is unnervingly pale too, a little bit shorter and more slender in contrast. He holds his pistol at the ready, scanning the room for additional threats. His brown hair swept to the side and out of his field of vision. Unlike his friend, he looks tense. His posture is textbook, but his gait is stiff. A glimmer of gold catches your eye as he turns, a circular pendant hanging around the collar of his sweater. Hello, ma'am. We know you are in here somewhere. He widens his nostrils and sniffs the air, and it smells like you've been busy. The man in the sunglasses has an audible Texan accent. There's no point in hiding, Miss Bardot. This is not a conversation that you wish to delay. Who are they to barge into my home like this? Let's show them some manners. Well, I guess out of those, I would have chosen probably to shoot them. This is the USA, damn it, and they just broke into my house. That's why I have the pistol for. But I dislike that there isn't an option to not do anything. Like, you know, I understand this. It's implied that your beast compels you to attack them because it feels threatened. But I don't think it's conveyed very well by just this. I would have added more dialogue to sort of describe this supernatural feeling of anger that you're feeling. That's stopping you from acting rationally. You know, like even if you wanted not to attack them, you can't help yourself. I think there should be more of a descriptor. Let's shoot them. Barely moving, the man in the aviators nonchalantly dodges your attack with a swagger, one of his hands still stuffed into the pockets of his black suit pants. Nice try, kid. He saunters towards you, pinning you to the fridge, but he doesn't raise his hands. I don't want to be a dick, but we can do it the easy way or the hard way. Your choice. Well, I would definitely attempt to run, because, you know, from my perspective as it is, this is a home invasion. Before you have the chance to even take a step, the man in the suit seemingly reads your mind, moving within human speed to block your exit. He clicks his tongue but keeps his devilish smirk. You sure know how to make an impression, I'll give you that. The imposing man pulls out a cigarette and lights it, the flickering flame produced by the Zippo lighter in his hand, reflected by the sunglasses. The small flame is close enough to make you recoil instinctively as it dances in his lenses. You can feel your stomach crawl with discomfort. Cornered, there is nowhere to go. That isn't pressed further. What? Cornered, there is nowhere to go that isn't pressed further against the fridge. I'm not sure if that sentence makes absolute sense. As the man's eyes track you, his smile sends a chill down your spine. You all have proven to be quite a headache. He taps the ash from his cigarette. I'm going to be honest with you. You're not walking away from this, but I'm debating whether I should go ahead and do it now, or drag you off and let my wife decide. Not that I have many options to choose from. He falls silent for a second, allowing himself to breathe in another dose of the thick, tar-laden smoke from his cigarette. It's run, fight or die, says my beast. You dig your nails into your flesh, hoping the pain will stop the voice plaguing your mind with unwanted advice. You're going to have to think clearly to get out of this one. How about this? He points at you with the cigarette. I'm betting you have questions. I'll answer you so that you can at least make peace with God or the devil before your death. That's the least I can do for you in your situation. Several thoughts rush through your head at once. You know that you can't take them. It doesn't look like you can make a run for it either. Not with the other guy lurking around. Although his back is turned to me, which doesn't seem like a wise choice, but what do I know about cornering people? You don't want to die here, not now. The man waits patiently watching as a trail of smoke rises from the lit cigarette dangling out of his mouth. I need to bide my time. One question in particular sticks out to me the most. What's happening to me? A contemplative look overtakes the man in the sunglasses expression as he checks you over looking for something and releasing a puff of smoke as he does. Confusion is to be expected, given the nature of your predicament. He seems to have come to a decision. You mean you still haven't figured it out? Well, shit, your daddy really did you dirty. I hate to be the guy to tell you this, but you're a vampire. That's impossible. A what? Yes, ma'am, you heard me. As unbelievable as it sounds from the guy that just barged into your apartment uninvited, he grimaces, the absurdity of the situation setting in on him as he shakes his head to dispel the feeling. It would be best for you to collect yourself, Miss Bordeaux. Kindred is the term used in sophisticated circles. Technically, yes. It's a name for the higher echelons of our society. You can stick with vampire for now, though. Just be careful who you call that way. Oh, is that a... Like, I don't actually know that in the lore of Vampire the Masquerade. Like, I always thought vampires just used the word kindred because it's more of a code. Like, if you overhear someone talking about kindred, you might think it's some kind of a secret society, but if they use the word vampire, it specifically might flash up for some people who are like hunters or something. But this seems to imply that the word vampire is in itself offensive to vampires, at least in the Camarilla, which I assume those are. Like, they are far too pleasant to be so bad. Her first impression should not be as crude as her brutal and unceremonious introduction to this life. He responds with a grin. Well, her time in this life, as he put it, won't be long enough to have an impression in the first place. At least now she knows she didn't kill for no reason. She was hungry. The crazy part is that it makes some amount of sense. Not that it makes you feel any better. At least you have a better explanation than this being a dream, or are you going totally bonkers? Any other question? Well, mostly, why do you want to kill me? Darling, I don't want to kill you. That's just the law of the land. The way it's gotta be. Besides, you already killed someone in cold blood. Isn't that reason enough for justice to be served? Nobody takes kindly to wanton misconduct in their territory, Miss Bordeaux. The circumstances of your transgressions are the sole reason we are exercising any form of lenience here. Well, there's that, but it's not like we're saints either. Let's just say we have our own way of doing things, and unfortunately your blood-sucking is gonna fuck up our blood-sucking if we don't put a stop to it. No hard feelings, it's nothing personal. Law of the land? Yes, ma'am. Sorry, but I don't make the rules here out of my hands. I'm just making sure everyone else is following them to the letter. There is no time for a prolonged debate on the issue of your existence. Currently, that is. Well, shit. Any other questions? Well, how did this happen to me exactly? Okay, this is again, I think, a continuity error in the dialogue, because the word sire wasn't used until now. Like, they used the word daddy, which by the way, if I were a vampire anarch, I would be voting to permanently change the word sire into the word vampire daddy. But where was that? Your daddy really did you dirty, right? So this is a continuity error because he didn't mention the word sire, so how can I ask him about it? How did this happen to me? We call it the embrace. Your sire killed you by draining all your blood and then gave you new life with theirs. Not as kinky as it sounds. Be thankful you don't remember it. Usually quite a dire experience. Any other questions? Yeah, and only now it makes sense for this question to be here. What do you mean by sire? Well, not to get all the birds and the bees on you, but your sire is, well, the person who did this to you. Your vampire mama or daddy. Impolite to assume. Who is that? It's likely only God and the sire themselves know if you don't. Wanted to kill you both in one fell swoop, he sighs. Things can never be easy. Any other questions? Who are you? My bad. Wouldn't want to be rude. Name's Evans, Dominic Evans. I'm the sheriff, but I'm no pig. Just the closest thing we kindred have to law around here. This is Kieran Edevane. He's shy. He frowns. I can introduce myself. Sure you can. He sighs, glaring tired daggers at Dominic. You have a wife? Which is a weirdly... it's a weirdly out of nowhere question, but at least it isn't sequence breaking because he did mention his wife. He was like, I should ask my wife what to do with you or something. You sound surprised, but since you asked, my wife Sam is the prince who rules the Vegas vampires. What can I say? I like them powerful. Pity you're not gonna meet her. I think she would have liked you, even taking into the account, well, everything else. Why do you prolong the inevitable, Sheriff Evans? We're only making it worse for everyone. He turns slowly to Kieran. Kieran, I'm pretending I didn't hear you say that so that we can continue to be friends. Do you mind if I continue my conversation? Sure, you can. Kieran's response is accompanied by a sly smile. Any other questions? How did you find me? We have our ways. We got an anonymous tip. Oh, why you gotta give up our ways? It doesn't require a genius to link those two particular points together, Mr. Evans. Now, why are you picking tonight of all nights to get yourself a spine? You're getting on my nerves, Kieran, more than usual. Any other questions? What happens now? He drops the cigarette butt in the pool of blood from the sink. It quenches with a near-silent hiss. Well, my friend, it looks like our time has come to an end. I would have loved to introduce you to the missus, but I can't let you continue to exist. Rather than some injustice, think of it as an assurance that this nightmare will be over soon. Kieran walks around the room but stops at the investigation board. Let's get this over with. I'll make it quick. He draws his .44 automatic pistol. He is perhaps a little too enthusiastic as he steps towards you. I have to do something, otherwise I'm done for, and this party is barely even started yet. If there was ever a time for self-preservation, it would be now. You reach for your weapon, but Dominic rushes you and pins you by the throat to the refrigerator. Behind his sunglasses, he's far too chipper for a man holding a gun to your head. You hear the safety click, and you close your eyes. This is it. In reality, the sound lasts only a second, but it feels like an eternity as you wait for the shot that ends you for good. Arthur. Is he here? No. I need to stop with the useless sentimentality and think about myself first and foremost. There has to be a way to survive this. Think. Any last words? I want you to know, despite appearances, I'm really not into this. Don't lie to yourself, you ass. You enjoy it more than you want to admit. Please, could we delay the execution for a moment, Sheriff Evans? It appears that Miss Bordeaux has a knack for investigations. He speaks up, staring intently at the investigation board. He looks back at Kieran, his hands still firm around your neck, and... kick him in the balls now, while he's distracted, just like in the self-defense classes. The deed is done. We cannot do much to amend the situation beyond an execution, or at least that would have been the case if in absence of the revelation that she holds such talents. As it stands, I believe that the best course of action would be to glean all that we can from this unfortunate occurrence, and that means using all personnel at our disposal. He glances at you, and then turns his gaze to Dominic once more. Killing her will only prove to be a waste of resources and potential. She has proven to be discreet enough, I would assert, he says, while there's a body in my bathroom, and I didn't even close the door, and I'm soaked in blood. Also, for a second, I thought my head disappeared, but it's just consumed by the blackness of my afro. He nonchalantly dodges your panicked attempts to free yourself. You feel the cold metal of his gun dig deeper into your temple. He grimaces, clearly a little annoyed, as if he heard a mosquito buzz next to his ear. I wouldn't exactly call her discreet. Yeah, I do agree with this guy, actually. She managed to stay under the radar long enough to survive a day. Possibly more. I'd wager that's proof enough. Kieran is leveraging Dominic's pride in his ability to do this job. To admit that staying hidden this long is not a feat to be impressed by would be equivalent to Dominic admitting that he is not a competent investigator. I don't think this is needed. I don't think I need descriptions of, like, what the character's intentions are, because realistically, how, like, I cannot know that, and I think it's up to the player to infer such things from the dialogue, rather than the dialogue spelling it out. He slightly loosens his iron grip, but remains steadfast. His brow furrows, and you can practically see the cogs in his mind begin to spin. I see why Kate keeps you around, Kieran. You make good points, but some would be pissed if she found out that I allowed a fledgling who couldn't pour piss out of a boot with the instructions. What? Sam would be pissed if she found out I allowed a fledgling who couldn't pour piss out of a boot with the instructions on the heel to fuck her practice. I am not a child, dickwad. Like you stated, she is not experienced in our ways. Tracking her down would not be challenging, especially now when we know of her identity and appearance. He looks straight at you in a way that makes you the very fiber in your body tighten. You will not squander this opportunity by running, correct, Miss Bordeaux? Should she prove herself to be capable, the praxis will surely find a place for someone who is capable in the art of investigation. Even you cannot deny that, given your role among her kind. And if whatever competence she has exhibited thus far turns out to be a fluke, well, then consider this a takeaway rather than a drive-through. Dominic stays silent for a moment before his cheeky smile returns. He sighs, shaking his head, and takes back a step. Then the hand around your throat is gone as quickly as he grabbed it, causing you to drop to the floor. You've convinced me, but she's your responsibility. Come hell or high water, you're in it together. I hope whatever ulterior motive you have in your mind is worth it. Kieran blinks several times. It seems that the act of making this argument may have been ill-advised after all. This is not what I had in mind. Oh, Sonny, I know. He grins, showing nearly all of his teeth in satisfaction. Well, thanks, I guess, for not killing me. Thanks for not aborting me. That's the spirit. He pats you on the arm, like you're his best friend. It makes you feel even more uncomfortable. It's not me you should be giving thanks to, though. And I do have one condition, because I ain't be going home to my wife having broken too many traditions. Can't have the rabble start thinking I'm handing out whole passes like hot cakes. He lowers his sunglasses slightly, and you see his eyebrows rise over his rims with a serious look on his face. You need to find your sire tonight. That's impossible. I don't even remember where I was last night. I'm sure we'll find some way to manage, he says, looking at you. Well, hate to tell you, but that ain't my problem. But you've got a shot now, don't you? Give some thanks to your new best friend, he grins at Kieran. He takes a deep breath after trying to compose himself once more. We'll start with the basics. I'm sure the answer to our question will be around here somewhere. He taps his foot a couple times, glancing at the ground. The spurs of his cowboy boots jingle lightly in response. You know, I don't want to tell you how to do your job. It would be against my code of ethics. Besides, I like to see Kieran squirm at the sheer thought that he may not survive to see the next evening. But I can give you a clue, free of charge, just don't get used to it. In a flash he pulls out a knife and cuts your palm open. Thick, dark blood slowly leaks out. Ow. He grips your hand and slurps up a gob of your blood. As his tongue makes contact with the slash, it seals before your eyes. Why is he... what the fuck? Yeah, and also, wouldn't that bloodbond him? Unless it doesn't work if he's like lower generation, which he most likely is. Of course, you're a brewer. He looks like a wine taster savoring your blood. What's that supposed to mean? Similar to how humans have ethnicities, kindred have certain classifications applicable to us. We call them clans. You come from an ancient bloodline of kindred, known for their strong convictions. So it's not your fault. You're the kind only a sire could love. Coming from this guy of all people. Based on the potency of your blood, your sire is not somebody to be messed with. So best of luck, you two. So maybe I am low generation as well. Which, again, confuses me a bit with the relation to him drinking my blood, because, at least in the older editions that I'm familiar with, that's not a good idea, to drink another vampire's blood. I'm off. I'll send a team to clean up soon. Pleasure to finally meet you, Desiree. I'll be in touch. He lowers his shades for a bit and winks. Well then, his breath takes a short hold as he is looking at his watch. We're on the clock, Miss Bordeaux. We have approximately 9 hours, so let's make the best of it. He looks back at you. Be blunt with me, we cannot afford insincerity. I wish to solve your problem as much as you do. Do you remember anything whatsoever from the last 24 hours? Well, I woke up. Not unlike several thousand people and kindred in the valley. Please attempt to reconstruct the recent events with me, Miss Bordeaux. This is your flat, correct? Recall your most recent memory of this place before today. Is there anything that is here and was not before? Anything missing or different? And if so, can you name it? Aside from the dead people, of course. You rub your temple. The clinical tone of the question is not dissimilar to the kind of prodding inquiry one would receive in therapy. Sadly, you seem to come up short, no matter how hard you try. You sigh and shake your head. He stares at you, analyzing your every move. Nothing? That's alright. One's memory might be feeble at times, especially if the event they're remembering is traumatizing. We should search your apartment. Perhaps something will jog your mind. Before the conversation comes to an end, you feel the need to say one last thing. Well, I guess thanks for saving me. He raises his head. This isn't sympathy, so please don't take it as such. My goodwill extends only as far as your resolve. But still, he liked it. Kieran +1 influence. I do like there is an influence system. I think that's a cool idea for, shaping their relationship with your companions, whether they respect you more, and it might unlock like new dialogue options or new quests or something. Hopefully, I don't know. But I do have a couple of, I guess, observations. One of them is that it's weird that Dominic, the sheriff, didn't even mention the Masquerade. Like, he did mention the traditions, which are like the laws of the Camarilla, but he didn't even mention the Camarilla itself, or any of the actual traditions, with, arguably the most important of them being the Masquerade. Like, at the very least, he could have said, don't tell anyone about this, because it's literally forbidden and it's another point in the corner of we should go and kill you. That's a bit weird that in a game, this game in itself is set in the Vampire the Masquerade universe, and yet they didn't mention the Masquerade to you upon allowing you to exist. Your former employer, blah blah blah, missing persons. I think this has been changed a little from the previous version of the demo. There's more, you can interact with more things, but if they all just say the same thing that they already did when I interacted with them before, then I guess what's the point? How did you know I deal with investigations? Well, maybe he looked at that board and concluded that. Your choice of interior design. The layout of your home tells me you're someone who moves about frequently, while the contents of the board indicate that you are either a workaholic or desperate, and have a minor obsession with the behavioral patterns of other people. And thus, I have made a guess as to your profession: a journalist or an investigator, or a stalker in the making. This is an apartment, not a house, which he didn't even mention a house. He mentioned a home, which is a different thing. So again, I don't think this makes sense. By all accounts, it doesn't. I am not enamored with either of those options, but let's say this. Please do not bring the conversation here. I do not care for semantic arguments. Kieran -1. Okay, I guess maybe he thinks it doesn't make sense either, in which case I would agree. Because by all accounts it doesn't. Okay, he didn't like me. Disappointing. This will not help your case, nor will it help mine. At the very least, he could have given me a chance to explain myself. Like, if something particular went down, like I killed someone, it might be on the news that someone has gone missing, depending on who that is. So I'm not sure if it isn't a little too harsh to penalize me for trying to check the TV. Sifting through your trash, you find a bar tab receipt from the embassy and nightclub on the Las Vegas Strip. By the looks of it, you've had fun, and you've had a fun night. I found our next spot, Club Embassy of the Strip. Curious, my sire owns the place, in a sense. He frowns, and you can tell he is surprised. In a sense? I'll share what I know on the way. We need to hurry and investigate. Tonight is the first and only chance you will be afforded to prove yourself or die trying. Do not fail, please. You hold more than just your own fate within your hands. Pardon me, but you wouldn't be allowed within the sight of the place with how you appear. Please clean yourself before we depart. I would recommend a quick shower, but... well, so how exactly... Like, I could still have a shower, I just need to move the body, so... It's a bit weird that it just says, leave your apartment, when he clearly suggested I should not be doing that before I clean the blood off of me. So that's a bit weird. But this episode has been long enough, so I'm going to save and end it for now. That's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!